Blazer fans, Happy New Year and welcome back to the Blazer Victory Podcast. This is your host, John Duncan, and I'm joined as always with my co host, Darian Smith. Darian, did you guys have a good New Year and a good Christmas?
Oh yeah, we definitely had a. It was great. This holidays was really good. This New Year's definitely probably overdid it. Have you ever seen Don Lemon on CNN on New Year's?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I probably had one too many a little bit, and kind of was hurting some yesterday, but I was able to recover, ready to get back into the swing of things for 23. So I'm praying and hoping that every Blazer fan had a good New Year and that we ready to conquer our goals for this year. Ready to see the Blazers go under. Ready to see the Blazers have in football have a Tulane like story.
Oh, I tell you what, man, something to like that. Like I didn't get to watch it live, but seeing what they did to USC, which I
It
mean
was amazing.
it was amazing. I mean, that team that Tulane beat, like they were a win away from making the college football playoff, and also just to see what TCU did, beating Michigan. Hey, just a few
Yes.
years ago, TCU was in Conference USA, so it's not too far fetched to maybe, hey, in a few years, see the Blazers getting involved in that big dance. So
Yeah, it's all about believing, and then
it is.
I know the subject at hand today is basketball, and I feel like we might be that much closer in basketball. I mean, our record, is 12-2,
Yes.
and we're rolling. I really feel like we've found our identity. And I feel like Aaron Gaines found himself offensively. We'll get into the weeds of it, but I think AK and the staff got the guys rolling. I feel like we're a legit team now.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree 100% with that. And, especially coming off these last two games with UTEP, well, and UTSA, but really that UTEP game, I think, was something that this UAB team had to go through to kind of find themselves. But we'll get to that in just a minute. I know you guys are just happy to see another episode in your feed. My apologies. We were not able to do an episode last week before the new year. The Duncan household was battling some sickness right after Christmas, but knock on wood and fingers crossed, I think we are in the clear. I'll knock on wood. But guys, if you're not subscribed to the Blazer Victory podcast, go ahead and hit that follow or subscribe button wherever you're listening to us right now, whether that's on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, wherever you're listening to us now. Hit that subscribe button so you do not miss any future episodes of the Blazer Victory podcast. And also, if you haven't bought a t-shirt or a hoodie, you can always help support the Blazer Victory podcast by going to storefrontier.com/blazerpod. Again, that's storefrontier.com/blazerpod to help support the Blazer Victory podcast. And, Darian and I have some really good plans for the new year for 2023 for the Blazer Victory podcast. So keep your ears peeled. We'll maybe have an announcement. I don't know, but we don't want to say too much. But we are working on some things for the Blazer Victory podcast.
Cooking it up.
Yes, sir. Well, Darren, I know the guys and gals are really excited to hear us talk some basketball. It's been a while, but yeah, let's talk about this UAB basketball team. 12-2 now. They, like you just said, I feel like they're clicking on all cylinders right now. I guess let's recap the UTEP game and the UTSA game. But I mean, I really kind of want to hone in on the UTEP game. I mean, UAB able to get it done last Thursday night against UTEP, 79-73 in double overtime. And Darian, how weird, well, how fitting is it that the last time that UAB faces off against the UTEP Miners in Bartow Arena as conference mates in Conference USA, that this game goes to double overtime?
It's fitting now. On the other side of it is it's like it's UTEP. We doing this again, but it is good to be on the winning side of it, especially with so much to lose this year. I know. So I'm gonna explain myself because I sent out a tweet like, "Hey, this was a bad loss." Now we was down 5 with like 30 seconds to go, and they had the ball. It looked like it was over with. It looked like we squandered our opportunities, And I'm just like, like so for me, I'm so invested in games. If I see it going away, I tend to try to let me go ahead and disconnect because if not, it's gonna be on my head. It's like I know, John. I know you're a diehard UAB fan also. If you go to sleep and it's one of those games you knew we should have had, we coulda, shoulda, even if we didn't deserve that game, and we let it slip away, it can bother you. Like it can really mess up your day. It can mess up your night if you don't do nothing about it. So I went ahead and tried to disconnect myself, but I was happily wrong. I was so wrong to be happy to see that we were able to push it to double OT and we were able to come out with the victory against UTEP. And I know we can get. I just felt like I had to kind of explain myself for sending out that early tweet, as if it comes off as if you don't believe in your team. But I believe in my team, guys. Y'all gotta let fans. I'm a fan too. You gotta let people disconnect when they can. Just let them be a fan. Let us go through emotions. Don't try to tone police everybody on how they should be a fan. But yeah, that's all. I believe in this team. I love this team.
Hey, and
Just
I mean that's what social media is for. I mean,
right.
hey, yeah, I wasn't even gonna bring it up, man, but yeah, I agree 100%. I don't tweet as much as I used to back in the day. But I totally understand where you're coming from, and Blazer fans would be lying if they if they thought the other end that this game was never in doubt for UAB. I mean, the UAB was lucky to get out of get a dub Thursday night against UTEP. And I meant to say this real quick before we get any further into the UTEP discussion. Guys, UAB's got a huge game this Thursday in Boca against FAU. Like, you look at KenPom, you look at the net rankings, like, especially the net rankings, this FAU team that UAB is going to play Thursday is better than what UAB faced in Morgantown earlier against West Virginia. So this is going to be a huge game, and we'll get into that in a few minutes, but we are going to continue just recapping the UTEP game, and we'll get into the UTSA game as well. But Darian, again, very gutsy win for UAB, 79-73, double overtime. This was a game that that UTEP led most of the game. And in fact, in the second half, they led by double digits. They led by as many as 11 points in the second half. UAB couldn't make a shot to save their life. They shot a season low 36.4% from the field. I mean, you look at UAB's backcourt, Darian, I mean, they were not doing very well at all. I feel like the bright spot out of this UTEP game was Butta Johnson. I mean,
Yes.
Coming in clutch, 14 points, 8 rebounds. 3 of those 8 were offensive rebounds. But that last shot was it about 29 seconds left in the game to nail a 3 on a pass from Eric Gaines to take a 2-point lead as a freshman, Darian, to make that shot.
Yes,
wow.
To have that confidence.
Yes.
And be so sure of yourself as a freshman. And I know after the game, they was asking AK about him and how impressed they were. I like that. I like the fact that AK said he's a big guard. He is. He's a thick guy. He's not slim. He got some meat on him. He's about 6'4", about 6'4", 6'5" in that range, and he has true skill. So where he's kind of like, I think he's a little bit bigger than Taven Lovin. But he has a shooting. He has a mid-range game. He can shoot the 3. He can take you off the dribble. So he has a complete game. He's physical. He's a good defender. He's young and he's gonna do nothing but get better. So I like that he is so multifaceted as a guard, and he has that size on him. So they can't pick on him. A lot of times, what UTEP was able to do. Oh yeah, before I move on to that, another guy I wanted to point out was KJ Buff, and I love how defensively he's been finding this role. If you notice, a lot of times if we want to shut down opponent and we go to this trap kind of look, but we always have KJ Buffin out in front. And he does a great job of getting his hands up, just being physical. He's about 6'8". He can move really well. He's so versatile defensively. I did not know that was part of his game. I don't know if he just developed that this year, but he needs to be pointed out. Like the way that I didn't know he could guard. I mean, sometimes we have him out there on point guards. This guy is a 4. He's a 4. He's a power forward mainly. And he gets out there, he guards, wings here, switch on to a big. That switchability in today's game defensively is like, because it's so positionless basketball in today's age, but his ability to just guard anybody. I think he had 7 steals.
Yes.
That UTEP game, that is insane. 7 steals is insane. So he hits the glass. He puts up points. He can shoot threes and jumpers here and there. He's physical, offensive rebounds. KJ Buffin has really developed into, in my eyes, the second most important part of this team next to Jelly Walker. But the way I felt... Oh, go ahead.
Well, no, I'm so glad you brought up KJ because honestly, like we know Jelly. Like we know Eric Gang. Like these guys are good. But if you look at almost like a game by game, like I think KJ Buffin is arguably the most consistent player on this team. And like, because you know when Jelly struggled, I mean I know Jelly hit a lot of free throws towards the end of the UTEP game, and it made his stats look a lot better. But I mean, you look at KJ, like what he's done for this team this year, and we know he did a good job last year, but this year, like he has kind of found his role and just he's brought so much confidence to this team this year. And, I think Andy has mentioned this, post game, a bunch this year, the respect that he has for KJ Buffin. And I'm just glad you brought that up because we love to talk about the Jelly Show. We love to talk about the Eric Gaines Show, and I led it off with, talking about Butta Johnson. But, I mean, it really is guys like KJ that kind of make this team go.
Yes, because defense travels. Offense, especially if you're a guy like Jelly that really depending on finding space and getting open for a jump shot because Jelly's not big. And so you can't count on him to always go to the rim. He's as physical as he can be at his stature, but a lot of it is going to, it depends on the jumper. If it's not going, it's not going. And sometimes, you just need more to offer. Now, thankfully, Jelly has a good handle, and he's a good passer as well, so he can facilitate. But defense always travels. Rebounding always travels, no matter if your offensive game is going or not. And KJ Buffin, and you're talking about consistency, we don't win a lot of these games if we don't have him and his versatility, his physical, his ability to be physical with any position. Into his athleticism, like it's traveled each and every game. It's been the most consistent thing on this team. So he is a very, very crucial part to what we want to do defensively and offensively. And I think it was important that UTEP game because they were very, very physical.
Yes,
I'm talking about for most of for most of their game, they were more physical than us. They made the game ugly because we're a very dynamic team. We like to get up and down, shoot. We kind of like Showtime Lakers. We want to shoot. We want to be fast paced. They weren't going to win like that. They knew that. They had big guards. They had some wing guys. They're not particularly the most skilled guys. Like they're not the most skilled team in shooting. It's not pretty basketball, like ball handling, and they run sets. I think the coach does a good job of running sets to get guys off stagger screens and blah blah blah. That's how they score, and hopefully if they shoot a jump shot, they go in. But they're gonna make it ugly. They're gonna draw fouls, or they're gonna get an offensive foul. They're gonna get in there and battle for offensive rebounds like they did all game. They're gonna push you. They're gonna prod at you. And they were able to make that game ugly. And honestly, they put themselves in a good position to win the game. But we needed a game like that. We needed a game against a physical team because that's what we're gonna face when we face North Texas.
Yes.
Just physical. Get in there. You're gonna have to dive on the ball. You're gonna have to really want it more. And then once you show them that you can play that way as well, then you can get up and down the court. Like I can beat you at your game and my game. And so shout out to UTEP and the coach. He was able to really enact his plan on what he wanted to do. But I feel like we just made one more play than they did. And shout out to Coach AK and the coaching staff because we were able to be more resilient. It was ugly. Couldn't hit shots. I mean, Jelly at one point, I'm like, oh my God. We depend on Jelly so much for offense, though. He has to keep shooting, so for good, bad, or ugly, he kept shooting. And then toward the end, they started going in, for whatever that's worth. So, hey, he was shooting. It was ugly. They weren't going in. He started pressing. You can tell he was just trying to get to us. He just wanted one to go. And sometimes when you start pressing on offense like that, just trying to get shots up, it gets uglier for you. Thank God, he was able to get to the free throw line, see some go in, and we needed those. But yeah, it was Butter Johnson on offense that was able to pull us through, and it was an ugly win, but it was a win much needed because of what we are trying to do in this conference.
In your opinion, would you say that UTEP was the most physical team that UAB's faced this year?
Oh,
Outside maybe West Virginia, or well, shoot, maybe even more physical than West Virginia was with us.
I think they were more physical than West Virginia. I think West Virginia was physical because of they recruit, they had better talent, and so they just had better players.
And they were big too, right? Like
Yeah, they were big. Like they were truly just like a big team. Only on the wings, at the guard. They were a big physical team. That's just how they play. And they'll be able to play that way with any type of team, not just with a G5 team. They were a big P5 basketball team, especially on the wings and on the guards. Um, so they were able to put their size on Jilly and Eric and just make a difference to where UTEP was a big team on the guard as a guard in the wings position, but they weren't as fast or as quick. They were definitely not as skilled as far as shooting and ball handling. Like definitely not what West Virginia was. But they just played like they played like they knew that they didn't have that in their bag. They played like a team that don't have any receivers, but they got a good running back and a physical offensive line. You're like an hour. if I can think of anybody in the NCAA football that they represented, it was Iowa. UTEP was Iowa. It was just ugly, but hey, they can get it done. And yeah, I do think they were more physical than West Virginia.
Well, obviously positives out of this UTEP game. Obviously UAB got the win. UAB forced a season high 25 turnovers. That was a plus. Without that, I mean, with all the shots UAB was missing Thursday night, without that, you don't have a shot in this game. And then, obviously, we've talked about Butter Johnson and KJ Buffin. Some of the negatives from this game, obviously, 36.4% from the floor shooting, not good at all. It's a season low. Also a season low in double overtime, 57 points. UAB scored a season low 57 points in the game against UTEP, and this game went to double overtime. Just a couple more things. UAB with a season low 10 assists in the whole game. Like, just ugly. Like, balls were just bouncing everywhere, like, just it almost seemed like the team was off. Like, I came close to tweeting this out, like, towards the end of the regulation until UAB got it together. But I almost made the tweet. I was like, this is the ugliest UAB's looked all year. And that's including 2 losses, at West Virginia and a neutral side against Toledo. Like, UAB just looked very unlike UAB for an Andy Kennedy team. Like, it just looked off. Like, I don't know what the deal was. I know, it's continuing to hurt the team without Ladarius Brewer. But hopefully he'll be back for the FAU game. But just looked ugly, and to have a season low 10 assists, just just not good Blazer basketball. And also, really, I should have led with this. UAB was out rebounded by UTEP 53-39. When's the last time UAB got whooped on the boards like that, Darren? I can't even remember the last time. Like, that is just getting out physical, like just ugly. But hey, the positive, UAB got the dub, and Darren, like you mentioned earlier, this is good for this UAB team. UAB can learn from it and take that into hopefully Boca Raton this Thursday, hopefully against North Texas later on. Like this is something that UAB can definitely learn from, and the good thing UAB didn't lose, so things are still alive for the Blazers.
Yeah, I'm glad that we were able to finish the game against our odds. We were able to show ourselves something that we didn't have to go through that. Like we haven't been through that. I mean, this season, this year, we had to go through that slugfest, and we was able to come out on that side of for a win of a slugfest, and that's not our style. But it was just a good test from a good team, a good physical, well-coached team, not the most skilled team, not the most talented team, but just well-coached and physical, and that's it. And we were able to win that game. Probably a game that we didn't deserve to win, honestly, because
not at all.
No, but we won it. We won it. So it was important that we won that, especially all the implications. I mean, we can talk about UTSA, but honestly,
no, we ain't gonna say much on UTSA.
Yeah,
we're gonna bring it up maybe a minute or two, but
yeah, let me tell you what I gotta say about you. UTSA is not a good team. Think about what they are in football.
Oh, it's hey, you Vanderbilt in basketball. Well, no, they got 5. Yeah, Vanderbilt got 5 wins this year, so that's who's a good comparison. Like they are, like I know we've got some UTSA fans that listen to the show. Like Roadrunner, do you guys even care about basketball? Like
they can't.
You have got to start caring heading into the AAC, or you are going to be the bottom, like the bottom of the bottom.
Dog, it's bad. Like it's it's really bad. Like I'm pretty sure they would be like the third or fourth like SWAC team.
Man, I tell you, there's some SWAC teams that would beat them. Like this
for real. Didn't they get beat by a SWAC? Who got beat by a SWAC team?
I know. I think no, it wasn't. Who is it? It was a SWAC team that beat a couple FBS teams. I think they beat Vanderbilt or somebody, but I don't know. But UTSA, like, what is going on? Like, we're not even gonna get it. UAB wins 90-67. Basically, whatever we said about the UTEP game, kind of flip it the opposite. So, Jelly hit 7 3-pointers. I mean, he led the way with 31 points. UAB shot 11-21 from 3. So, hey, Eric Gaines 18.6 rebounds.
UTSA it's not there.
Like you would just see them standing there, like just letting Jelly, like. I mean, does this team even care? Like, I'm not nitpick on UTSA. Like, I know they're bad. UTSA fans know they're bad, but they got to get it together heading to the AAC, or this is gonna be bad.
Like, for the program. It's unacceptable.
Yes.
It's really like, dog. I know you guys aren't this bad. I know you guys have more talent in that area that you can be able to recruit from. Like, y'all can get a lot of JUCO guys that's better than what they putting out. I don't know if it's the coach or if it's the players, but it might be both. But it's bad. And if UTSA care about basketball like they do football, they have the potential to be good. It's a good program. We know what they can bring over there. Like, come on now. So with that being said, we can move on to FAU.
Yes. Well, one more thing I did want to say from the UTSA game, Jelly Walker scored his 1,000th point as a UAB Blazer in the first half, and that was just his 47th game at UAB. So he actually became the fastest player in Blazer basketball history to reach 1,000 points at UAB. At UAB, Robert Vaden was led the way before, but he did it in 50 games. So Jelly able to do it in 47 games. But yeah, with that being said, let's just move on to hey, congrats to Jelly. UTSA, get it together. I'm gonna be very interested to see if we have any UTSA comments on this podcast. Probably not, because I know they. I mean, if you're a UTSA fan, wouldn't you checked out by now on basketball? Like you looking at recruiting rankings for football. I mean, I know they killed it in rankings for football for recruiting rankings. So yeah, you probably checked out already for basketball.
Yeah, they ain't thinking about basketball. So
all right, well, big game Thursday night in Boca as UAB travels to FAU, 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. The game is going to be televised on ESPN Plus, but hey, FAU 12-1, 2-0 in Conference USA play. UAB 12-2, 3-0 in Conference USA play. I mean, this is a huge game for both of these programs. But I mean, this is a quad one opportunity for UAB. Like, if UAB can get it done, I mean, this like I mentioned earlier at the start of this episode, like FAU has a better net ranking than West Virginia does right now. Like FAU is currently ranked, I just added up, number 11 in the net rankings. UAB's at 60. But if UAB can get this done, that is a quad one opportunity. And the only other quad one opportunity UAB has had thus far into the season was at West Virginia. And we know that didn't go as well as UAB fans would hope. But it's a big game. And as I mentioned earlier, I hope Ladarius Brewer is back. You know, he had that broken bone in his hand. Hopefully he will be back for FAU this Thursday night. But I mean, this just doesn't get any bigger. Like it's a quad one opportunity. It is a Conference USA game. Like this is, I expect that gym's going to be packed out Thursday night for FAU Arena. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty packed out. I expect that. I expect a raunchous crowd. But I expect our guys to be up for the challenge. I'm pretty sure that they look forward to this game. Who wouldn't? You can't help but to look forward, especially when you got UTSA right there. Yeah, that wasn't even a diss. I was just being real. And I think this team is going to be interesting because I know a lot of times this year we have struggled with like physical teams on the wing. Like yes, we do have Trey Jemison, but even he sometimes was that the center from I believe was that Charlotte. You know, sometimes you can get into Trey, you know, and if it's 1-on-1, he's a good help defender and shot blocking. He's good most of the time at holding his weight down there. But if you get a good guy that can got some skill to him, they can get into him and be physical with him. But this team is like they play a lot like us. So stylistically, what they bring isn't the physicalness, the big guys on the wing and stuff that we struggle with. They are very guard heavy. Now they have a big 7-1 center in the middle, but they start 4 guards alongside of him. And they like to get up and down. They like to get in transition. They can shoot the ball well. I think the best quality about their team is they're very deep. They go like 5-6 guys into their bench, like legit playing time. And these guys can come in and they got a clip on them. They come in and they can shoot. You know, and it's impressive to see a team in NCAA men's ball to be that deep and they can trust. I think that's the it's so stylistically they play like us, but personnel wise, you know, we kind of like 3 or 4. Hopefully Ladarius Brewer's back. That way we're legit 4 deep with if his brother Ty still starts. That's Ladarius Brewer, that's Butter Johnson, that's Javian Davis, and I know sometimes we're able to go to Tony. I feel like I'm missing somebody else off that bench.
Man, I know who you're missing, and this is a guy that's kind of, I mean, I love his play, but he's been kind of non-existent lately, and that's Taven Lovin. Like,
yeah, Taven Lovin.
These last few games though, like I feel like I don't know what's going on, but something's going on with Lovin, and I hope that he, you know, is just kind of saving his best basketball for now, and hopefully he'll get going from here on out. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with Lovin, but he's, you know, he missed a dunk a couple of games ago. I think that was the Charlotte game. He missed a dunk, and he's just, I don't know what the deal is. But hopefully we'll get him going starting this Thursday.
Yeah, hopefully we can get him going. This would be a good team to get it going against. With they are very scrappy on defense. Now coming off the bench, they do have some wing guys and stuff with some size, but they're still mostly guard centric. And yeah, I think if we this would be a good team to get Taven going on because he can use his size, his physicalness. He
He's a
can get
slasher
down
too. He can get it to the basket. Yeah.
right, and he can get downhill and he can draw some contact, get to the line against this team. I think he can just be stronger, bigger, more athletic than a lot of the guards that'll be guarding him this game. So hopefully we can get him going. Hopefully we can have Ladarius back and we can kind of match the firepower. I think they are much deeper than we are. But if we get Ladarius back, at least that's another good body, a good player that we get, not just a player, a good player. Because sometimes I feel like Tony is still finding himself, especially offensively. Like
Yeah.
he brings a lot of energy. He's very athletic, and sometimes he's good defensively. Like sometimes he has all the tools and the potential. Like Tony is very athletic. He's built like a tank, and he has a lot of energy. But sometimes he just find himself out of position defensively, and he can get beat by sometimes just I don't know if it's like not understanding the scheme all the way, but he has all the tools and offensively. You can tell he's still kind of trying to find himself because he can shoot and knock down shots sometimes, but that's not really his game. So what is he as a guard? Sometimes if you're a guard not without a stroke on you to shoot, you kind of get stuck in between. So sometimes we're able to dive into him or not, but Ladarius is very skilled. He's a 3 level scorer. He's not the athlete that Tony is, but he's definitely like mentally, he's older, senior. He's been through the wars. He can pull up. I can tell you what, whenever time Ladarius Brewer shoot, I feel good, especially if he's wide open. They leave him open for three. You
Hmm.
feel like it's going in, you know. And he's a guy that we can really use 6'5". Hopefully he's back. But this FAU team is gonna. It's stylistically, man. I expect this the winning team to have at least 80 points and up. I think it's going to be a fast game, getting up and down the court. So I think it's all about details. Whoever win this game is going to be a team that pays attention to the details. That's going to be able to impose their will. With I think Jelly and then some of their guards are going to be able to get off and do their thing. But it's going to be like, will we be able to get Eric Gaines going? Will turnovers be limited? Will we rebound the ball? You know,
That's
will Trey Jemison and KJ Buffin get in there and rebound along with Javian Davis and Ty Brewer and all those bigs? Can they get in there and be physical and rebound? Those little details I wasn't gonna not the flashy plays.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, everything you said about FAU, I agree with. Really good guard play. They really don't make a lot of mistakes, and they don't really turn the ball over a whole lot, especially at home. Very efficient on the offense and defensive side. You look at their Ken Palm rankings; they're in the 50s for offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency. Um, I mean, they're ranked 35 in Ken Palm. UAB's at 51. These teams are very similar. What scares me, Darian, about this game though, is that this is only UAB's second true road game of the year. And the other game at West Virginia, and we know how that went. UAB turned the ball over a lot in that game. Like, I just hope we don't see the same thing. What we saw in Morgantown happen again in Boca, and I don't think it will because I do think this UAB team has grown since then. And especially coming off the UTEP game, giving them some momentum. Like, hey, if we play the worst, if we can't make a shot, we've got if Jelly's not hitting, we've got some other guys that can step up. And especially if we can get Ladarius Brewer back, I think maybe Ladarius Brewer could have played UTSA, but I just think they're kind of holding him back, just making sure he's ready. Hopefully he's practicing this week leading up to Thursday night's game. Get him in there because I think when you have Ladarius Brewer on the court, that is another guy like Darren, like you just mentioned earlier. Like when you see him with a wide open shot opportunity, most of the time he's going to hit that shot, and especially beyond the arc at the 3-point. UAB needs somebody else other than Jelly to step up and be more of a consistent 3-point shooter. And I think, before he got hurt, I think Ladarius Brewer was that guy. Now we know Eric Gaines can make the three too, and he's done very well lately. But I think Brewer was those games that we saw earlier in the season in person. I mean, we both kind of commented, Darian, that hey, Ladarius Brewer is going to be one of those guys that's going to be proven to knock down those 3-point opportunities.
Right, and I think with the improvement of Eric Gaines, as you just mentioned, with him shooting the ball the way he's been shooting, the emergence of Butter Johnson, and he's able to shoot. If we can add Ladarius to that mix, and with KJ and Ty hit their shots here and there, I think that's what this team really needs, because I think the key to this game is like who's going to speed up who. We talked about the physicality, we talked about the rebounds and the turnover battle, but who's going to be able to speed up who? Because even though they don't have big guards, neither we don't have big guards. So you would think, and we've played against a bevy of big guards, and we've been able to win those games. But I'm thinking about with their small, scrappy play on the perimeter, will they be able to speed us up? Will they be able to get us to make mistakes? I think that'll be important. I'm pretty sure that's going to be their game plan to kind of get us going, because sometimes we can get going and we get a little flashy and we throw the ball away. Will they be able to speed us? Because they're not going to be able to be physical and out physical us because we're like the same size. And I think that gives Eric Gaines an advantage, especially out there on the perimeter, because he's going to be more athletic than most of the people we play anyway. So the only way to counter that is with size. You don't have the size advantage on him. He can jump. The dude can jump. He can get physical. He's just quick. He's going to be the best athlete on the floor most of the time. So I wonder if he's going to be able to get downhill, get going. If we can get Tavon Lovin off the bench, can he get down here? Can he get in the lane and get going? Will we be able to get the big center? Can we get him in foul trouble? I think it's going to be about enforcing our will, not being sped up by their guards who are scrappy defenders. No, don't let that get them in foul trouble. Get their center in foul trouble. Get some and ones, flex on them, scream in their face, and then get going from the perimeter. That's what I would try to do against this team.
No doubt, I agree. Just a couple of players for Blazer fans to watch on the other side for FAU. Two of those guards that we were talking about, Elijah Martin and Michael Forrest. Elijah Martin's averaging 13.5 points per game, 6'2", 210 sophomore. Forrest averaging 11.5 points per game, 6'1", 174 senior. But of course, that big 7-foot guy in the middle, Golden, 7'1", 240. And UAB's faced him before, yeah.
Those two guards you mentioned, I think both of those guys come off the bench. If I'm not mistaken,
because you might be right.
I think because I watched that North Texas game.
God bless you for watching that game. I was not about to watch. After looking at that box score, I was like, there ain't no way in hell I'm watching that game.
It wasn't the most aesthetically pleasing game.
With both teams combined for 6 of 60 from three, I'm like, okay, no, I'm good, man.
It wasn't aesthetically pleasing. It wasn't like the most exciting game to watch, but it was a good game to watch to get info on personnel and stuff like that. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Michael Forrest might have started. I'm not sure, but I know Elijah Martin came off the bench.
You were correct. Both of them came off the bench.
And that is so impressive when you can have firepower like that coming off of the bench. That's dangerous, because a lot of times you see a lot of teams when that main guy go to the bench, the main scorer, you're like, oh, can they hold on? Can they tread water while such and such is catching his breath?
Right. Wow.
But but that's not it. They have a lot of guys coming out for that bench. They're very deep. And that's impressive. They go to that bench. They don't have a fall off. So, and stylistically, we're very different. We lean on Eric Gaines. We lean on Jelly Walker a lot. But I think with the return, hopefully, of Ladarius Brewer and the emergence of Ephraim Johnson, Butter Johnson, I think we'll be able to at least match up with them somewhat in the depth category.
And real quick too, I do have that box score pulled up from the North Texas FAU game. FAU shot three of 23 from beyond the arc, 3-point. North Texas shot it 3 of 22. So both of those teams were 13% from the 3-point line. But you look at the regular field goal percentage, FAU 16 of 52 for just 30%. North Texas 18 of 53 for 34%. And look, I know how North Texas plays. We've seen it. It is the most boring basketball but I've ever watched. But I mean, and you really look like, and I'll be honest, like I did not go watch any of that North Texas game because I was not going to subject myself to that. But you look at the box score, Darian, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but look at the free throws. Like FAU got to the line 20 times as opposed to North Texas only getting to the line 9 times, and they hit 15 of those 20. And what was the final score? 50-46. Like, because both of the teams, yeah.
And honestly, North Texas should have won that game. FAU went on like a 13-0 run at the end to finish that game, and it was crazy because it was like North Texas seemed like they were in control and were going to win it. And that's what happens when you play that ugly brand of basketball and you don't have the offensive talent, but you got superior defensive talent. Sometimes you just go cold, and those guys went cold, and they credit the FAU for defending them, but they went cold, and FAU guys were able to hit layups here and there, hit shots here and there, and next thing you know, you saw them, they had a lead and they won the game on the road. So it was we had an impressive and gutsy win. They had an impressive and gutsy win. And I honestly don't think that's a game they should have won. Just like we shouldn't have won the game. So
exactly, but both teams were able to find a way to win. So you got to credit. Yeah, you got to credit where credit's due.
So I'm excited to see this game. This is we had this one highlighted all year. This is going to be very important, and I really want to see us. I was bummed out when we lost to that bum ass Toledo team. I was bummed out.
That loss is continuing bad. Like Toledo is just not a good team.
I was bummed out losing to a good West Virginia team. So this is another opportunity. I think this is one we need to seize, and I think we can.
No doubt. Well, let's go ahead and get into those predictions, Darian. Well, obviously, my main key to the game is just rebounding. Please just out physical FAU, crash the boards. If you miss some 3-pointers, hey, Trey Jemison, KJ, guys down low, Javion Davis, find a way to get the rebound and get second chance opportunities. That's going to be huge in this ball game. Force FAU to be a little uncomfortable. I know they're very efficient on offense. They don't turn the ball over a lot, but kind of run some full court press, try and make them uncomfortable. But Darian, I think somehow, someway, UAB is able to get both of those things done, and they pull out of FAU Arena with a 75-73 win. What's your read on this game?
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's going to be a lot about rebounds. Don't get sped up. Let's see. This is going to be a hard one.
I think you said it was going to be in the 80s, so you've got a little more high scoring than I do.
Yeah, so I think the winning team will have to score 80. So I got us good guys 81, FAU 77.
Nice. And hey, this would be such a big win for UAB. Like, it's kind of what I believe Andy Kennedy said in his post-game presser from the UTSA game. It's like just all about taking that next step. They know they're a good team. UAB knows they're a good team. But can you take that next step and get an elite win on the road in conference play nonetheless? Like, it's just all about taking baby steps. Just try to take that next step, get to 13-2, increase that net ranking, increase your KenPom rating, and hey, the way Conference USA is playing right now, you've got FAU, UAB, North Texas, not Western Kentucky. I don't know what the hell is going on over in Bowling Green, and we're not going to get into that. But also Charlotte. Charlotte's playing some good basketball. And Middle Tennessee's, pretty good too. Like, the top of Conference USA is really good right now as long as these teams keep winning outside of when they play each other. But if they keep winning the games they're supposed to win, Conference USA might be able to squeak 2 teams into the big dance in March if things fall the way they should. And for UAB, another opportunity. We didn't think we'd get another opportunity, but to have another opportunity at a quad 1 win, hey, if UAB can get this done, this is going to be huge for Andy Kennedy and this team.
Yeah, very huge. We need to show that we can beat an elite team, and especially on the road, especially when we're going to see later on in conference. It's important. We need to show that if this is the opportunity to show that we're the alphas of this league of Conference USA, and that I believe this is the route to be a 2-bid league, is to, like, one team has to really show that, hey, we're here, we're the team to beat. And we want to be that team. We want to be the one that said, okay, UAB is in. Now another team can get in, maybe if they win the conference tournament. If they win the conference tournament, they can get in. But UAB isn't in with or without the conference tournament. That's what I want us to be. I want us to go into the conference tournament being the top 25 team, hopefully top 20.
And not even have to sweat about winning the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, by going undefeated, by beating North Texas twice, by beating FAU twice, and UTEP twice, and Charlotte twice, and Rice. Like, we got some good teams in this league. So, hopefully this is just, the first opportunity to show that we have found our identity offensively and defensively, and that this is who we are. We're going to be the alphas going forward.
No doubt. And guys, with this game being such an important game for UAB, Darian and I are planning to do an instant reaction show after the FAU game Thursday night. So, again, if you're not subscribed to the Blazer Victory podcast, make sure you are subscribed to us on a platform to where you don't have to, worry about finding it. You're just going to get that next episode in your podcast feed. So, Darian, I look forward to seeing you Thursday night, and hopefully we can celebrate a Blazer victory come Thursday night.
Yes, sir, brother. I look forward to it. I'll probably get up with you and we can watch the game together.
Let's go. All right, Darren, you want to go and close this out, buddy?
All right, let's go ahead. Get us a big win coming up. Blazer Nation, let's ride.
Let's ride.